Hi, everyone. Welcome to Trivera Tip Tuesday. In case you missed it, our last session was how to do a digital competitive evaluation. So if you're trying to figure out how to analyze your competition to improve your competitive ability, not to copy them, that video can get you started. I am Christina Stetter. I'm the EVP here at Trivera. And this week, you'll notice something different about our Tip Tuesday. We have 3 people here today. And that's something new. And the reason for that is that all of us attended Hubspot's annual event, Inbound 2020, last week. Now, because it's 2020, the whole event was virtual, but it was still awesome. So today we are here, we're each going to share a couple of tips we picked up at the conference. And before you think, well, we don't do HubSpot or we don't do inbound marketing, please know that this conference was not solely focused on inbound. It was a really comprehensive digital marketing event. So Jackie and Jamie, can you guys introduce yourselves?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie Costa. I'm on the SEO and content team at Trivera.
And I'm Jamie Reinhardt. I'm the Senior Vice President of Business Development here for Trivera.
You do something for us.
I know, I do something, yeah.
Whatever. All right, so let's get started. First of all, what did you guys think of the overall conference? Just some positives or negatives overall?
Well, overall, I thought it was fabulous. I thought the platform they picked was very easy to navigate, great to go back and rewatch things that, that we didn't have time for during the day last week. Of course, when you rewatch it, you'll also get the technical glitches.
Yeah, I thought it was great that they had different tracks for all the different disciplines within an organization. So whether you're in marketing or you're on the customer service side or on the sales side, they had different tracks and different speakers for all of those different disciplines. But then they had overall organizational stuff too. So it was really well organized, and you could follow one track or you could hop around from all the different tracks, which I think a lot of us did because that was nice. And yeah, there was some technical issues, Jackie, you're right. But overall, for having a first year like that, all digital, I think they did an awesome job.
Yeah, I agree. I really like the diversity of the topics, because you can't really think about inbound marketing as a silo. It really it brings together sales and marketing, which Jamie, you and I have talked about on other Tuesdays a few times. And, you have to create a lot of assets, which then brings in SEO, which is, Jackie, something you and I have talked about, and content writing, so it all has to be integrated. Just so you guys know, yesterday I did a HubSpot user group meeting, and they all said the same thing. Technical issues were a bit of a challenge.
Okay.
So that was really kind of.
It wasn't just our internets. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't just us, and I did a couple meetups. I don't know if you guys tried any of those.
I didn't try.
They were great, but one did have some technical issues. I could never connect with another person. I ended up leaving the meeting. But the second one I ended up getting put into a meeting room a couple of times with the same people. And it was someone from Boston, someone from Seattle, someone from Atlanta, someone from South Africa, and me, which was really cool to talk to these people from all over the world. And I made really good connections with 2 of them, and I'm having now virtual coffee with them next week. So it was really cool.
Nice.
But if any of you watching this are thinking, you do something like this and you're wondering how to make it go online, you could watch our Tip Tuesday. We did one with Julia Haas from Jersey, and they do virtual events. So that might help get you started thinking about it.
Well, and you know what? You don't have to be afraid of a virtual event. I mean, all of the presentations that we watched were about a half hour, and then there was time after that for Q&A, which, made every presentation very manageable to fit in. In fact, one of the presentations I watched featuring an owner of an agency in London, his name was Richard Goring. He said the sweet spot for webinars is about 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. To play a little devil's advocate, the Triveras can be longer, and they can be longer. Our recent Biz Expo presentation, we had a bad time slot. It was at the end of the day, really high attendance numbers, and all but 3 of the people watched until the end. So if you do really good stuff like us, sometimes you can have it a little bit longer, but it totally has to be worth it. And that was a virtual event as well. So people weren't even hanging around for a happy hour or anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It makes me think of a quote I heard during the opening keynote. It was Dharmesh Shah, who is one of the founders of HubSpot. And he said, you have to deliver an experience that meets the customer's new normal, not the old normal, which I think makes a lot of sense. We're seeing a lot of that in our business. And I think, Jamie, you're seeing a lot of that as the person in charge of business development. People are really thinking about how do they market themselves now, right?
Yes, yeah. 2020 seems to be the year where even the most old school of companies are kind of seeing the digital marketing light, realizing digital marketing and online communications has many of the same fundamentals as communicating in person. So it makes it a little bit more palatable for old school companies as well. For an example, the name of a seminar that I was at, not to be crass, but it was 21 kick-ass social commerce tips to sell today. They had a great tip about the law of reciprocity, which is, again, it's something that's been around for a long time. They gave a real world example of waiters and waitresses giving you a mint when you're done with your dinner, and how that helped increase tips because people kind of felt like, oh, they gave me something more, I should give them a little bit something more. It didn't matter if it was those fancy Andes candies or just a little red and white mint. Just giving something, made people want to reciprocate. And that really, the law of reciprocation is kind of carried over online. We are always asking for customers or clients information, something from them, but a lot of times people aren't giving them any reason to give the information. So really applying the law of reciprocation to inbound marketing or whatever marketing you're doing is going by giving like a white paper or some sort of really, really cool case study can help make it easier for people to give up their information. We do that on our website too. We have this archetype quiz, which is connected to HubSpot. It's great. What we do is we show people what they could get. They take a quiz, and you can find out what archetype your business is or what archetype you are, which helps in your writing. And then you get something in return, which is we'll give you the results of that quiz. And it's in HubSpot, so you definitely don't have to be a tech guru to make it all happen. Reciprocation, it's really key online.
Well, I love what you're saying about content. And the conference was great for me for that. The biggest takeaway was when one of the speakers said that content should answer questions that prospects ask most often. So the concept is they ask, you answer. And of course, the only way you'll find that out is if you talk to your sales team and find out what people are talking about or asking about, and then write your content to that. Mm-hmm. There was another awesome speaker. His name was Marcus Sheridan. And he said, which this is an amazing tip, use your analytics to figure out how many pieces of content your prospect consumes before they actually buy or convert. In his example, he said it was 30 pieces of content, and then just title that content to answer the way people search. So it doesn't always have to be catchy. It can just, it just goes back to that they ask, you answer.
And I really like that he said you have to do the research. We've all been in meetings with people, whether you're volunteering for something or even in a client meeting sometimes, where people want to move something on their website or change an ad or do something, and there's no data behind it. It's just they want to try something because it's their personal preference. And that's not a great way to do something. I was in one session, and I can't remember the name of it, but the speaker introduced a concept of how to write a hypothesis statement. And I actually made a little graphic for this. Let me show it to you. But what she said you're supposed to do is you need to be able to write out this sentence. So changing blank to blank will impact blank because blank. And if you can't say that whole sentence, you don't have an understanding of what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it. So here's an example. If we were to say, or a client maybe was to say, changing our separate links for white papers, videos, and technical data sheets into one resource section will impact time on site, because our customers will have a better user experience and be able to find all the things that they need to know about our company and our products in one place. So if you can't answer all of that, like why are you doing something and what do you hope to get out of it? Because if you don't know how to get something out of it, you're not gonna be able to measure it. Then it's not worth doing. I thought that was really, really good. And we're gonna be using that somehow. I don't know how, but we're gonna be using that.
Well, I'm excited.
I totally agree. I love that. But I mean, we do reports. That's I guess why we do them every month, to look at what users are doing and why and how.
Yeah, and it kind of relates to something that I had learned. It's having an SEO mission. It was in Dale Pritchard's session, and it was called The End of Technical SEO, which isn't the end of digital marketing agencies. Otherwise, we'd all be sad, and I wouldn't mention it. Basically, is talking about how AI is getting so good that SEOs have to rely on some non-technical approaches to help grow organic traffic. We can't trick Google anymore. Google used to be rules-based, if then, if then, if then. Now they're using AI and even humans to help with the rankings. So you can look at the top result of a Google page and you can find it very, very hard to reverse engineer. So the part of the seminar that I had found, as I mentioned above, really, really interesting was the concept of SEO mission to drive strategy, tactics, and goals. And so SEO mission is basically, it's a force multiplier, and it can help an organization focus and drive strategy and create relevant tactics and goals based around that mission. It's not a SEO keyword, it's an SEO mission. Basically, we're pitching the mission and not the products. And the concept is going way, way beyond just a targeted keyword content. It's creating content that connects you, with your targeted audience. And the content is going to lead you to partnering with even like-minded people, whether it's your customers or whether it's other businesses, that ultimately can lead to, having better backlinks and having better referral traffic and that sort of thing. And then you're going to do outreach to promote the mission and not the content or not the product. You're not promoting a hammer, you're promoting something a lot larger and a lot better than a hammer. And again, that just helps to generate content ideas, and it helps keep people more interested because you have a lot more to say about your SEO mission. And the last thing is that it kind of makes you feel better because you're doing something good in the world and not necessarily just trying to sell a product. You're really, really working towards that mission. And Google sees it and they'll push your rankings right up. I thought that was really cool. It's a good concept.
I'm glad you clarified, Jamie, because I thought you were saying there's no need for technical SEO.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, there is page experience, signals that Google's recently been talking about, schema, all of that technical SEO is still important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, super important. I mean, we always say you can't do SEO to a broken site. Google is a target audience too. And I have to admit, I thought like Jackie, when I saw this on our notes for today's conversation, I thought, oh, we might have to debate this one. But no, the way you've explained it now, I really like it. And I think this relates to one of the biggest algorithm updates until next year when there's a big one coming, which was BERT. And BERT helps Google's search algorithms understand language. It's natural language processing, essentially. So it can understand like how the word not affects the words around it, or on affects the words around it. So I think that's really important. And then it also relates to the concept of EAT, which is expertise, authoritativeness, and trust, which is a big deal for Google also. You can't just say that you know something or put information on your site. You actually have to prove that you have the authority to be giving advice on this topic, particularly if you're in one of those categories that they call your money or your life, where the advice, if it were bad, could have a detrimental effect on somebody's life. So awesome. I'm really glad you explained that so well. So that is all the time we have for today, because we do try to keep these short, listening to what Jackie said, and that these shouldn't be longer than 20 minutes. But we hope that you guys will tune into some of our other Tip Tuesdays. There's probably 15 or 16 of them out there now. And we also have a few webinars both on our own website and our YouTube channel. So thanks to both of you for sharing what you've learned at HubSpot. I really appreciate you doing this with me, and see you later.
All right, cool. See ya.
Bye.